10 shocking WWE surprises planned for 2020. Number 10. Otis will lose his Money in the Bank contract. When WWE had Otis capture the men's Money in the Bank contract in May this year, fans were surprised to see the company push the comedic heavyweight as a possible main eventer. Now it seems that the company won't be doing that, as if rumors are to be believed, Vince McMahon has lost interest in pushing the heavy machinery star. And it's now expected that Otis will lose his Money in the Bank contract, the second person ever to do so after Mr. Kennedy in 2007. It's unclear which superstar will take the briefcase from Otis, though it's been stated that Sheamus is a possible contender, as he's already a bona fide established star and has prior Money in the Bank experience, winning the ladder match and cashing in successfully in 2015. With WWE's ratings at some of their all-time worst, Bruce Pritchard's tactic is apparently to use established names to get people watching again. And between Sheamus and Otis, it's obvious which one of these two is the bigger star. Number 9. Samoa Joe will return to the ring. On this week's Raw, Seth Rollins turned his attention to commentator Tom Phillips, which didn't sit too well with Phillips' fellow announcer, Samoa Joe. When the Monday Night Messiah instructed Murphy to attack Phillips, Joe stopped the beatdown from happening, and this seems to be the start of something bigger, as Joe looked ready to face both Rollins and Murphy. Rumors have stated that this will mark the beginning of Joe's return to in-ring competition, as Vince McMahon realizes just how useful the former United States champion can be in the ring. With that in mind though, Joe's days as a full-time wrestler for WWE are indeed over, but if rumors are correct, fans can expect to see the Samoan submission machine come to the aid of Dominic Mysterio after the up-and-comer loses to Rollins at SummerSlam thanks to Murphy. With Payback 1 week after SummerSlam, fans will see Joe and Dominic team to defeat Rollins and Murphy in what'll hopefully mark the start of a lengthy WWE career for the youngster. Number 8. Scott Steiner will return to WWE. In 2004, Scott Steiner left WWE, and in the years since, hasn't exactly been a fan of the company. Calling Stephanie McMahon and Triple H idiots in 2017, and saying the company is the worst place to work earlier this year, Big Papa Pump has made his views clear, but if rumors are to be believed, Steiner could soon be working in WWE again. Whilst Steiner isn't a fan of the game or Stephanie, Vince McMahon is hoping to mend Scott's relationship with WWE in 2020, which would see him return this year. The company reportedly has a lot of interest in signing Scott's nephew, Bronson Reich Steiner, the son of Rick Steiner, as the Baltimore Ravens fullback reportedly has dreams of entering the wrestling business. Though Triple H was supposedly against Steiner's return, he's now warmed to the idea. And with Scott and Rick being rumored for the 2021 Hall of Fame, and most wrestling promotions being closed at the moment, there's worse places for Freakzilla to be. Before the NFL, Bronson spent a few years as a wrestler, and whilst Scott has been adamant against his nephew signing with WWE, if Vince McMahon is able to mend the company's relationship with Scott, which could even see Steiner have a handful of matches, then it may just be a matter of time before Bronson follows his uncle to Vince McMahon's company. Number 7. Drew McIntyre will reunite with Jinder Mahal. With SummerSlam taking place later this month, it's currently believed that Randy Orton will dethrone WWE Champion Drew McIntyre, presumably with the assistance of Ric Flair. What's more interesting though is WWE's plans for the Scotsman after his title loss, as according to rumors, Drew will realign with Jinder Mahal once the modern-day Maharaja is back from his latest injury. We don't know if this will mean Drew will turn heel or Jinder will turn face, but it's expected for the two to reunite and capture the Raw Tag Team titles at some point in the near future. It's believed that this change for McIntyre's character is down to Vince McMahon wanting to see more depth in the Raw Tag Team division, with the titles being with the Street Profits for the past 5 months. Though Mahal and McIntyre worked together before in 3MB, they were much different characters to what fans see now, and having the pair as Raw Tag Team champions could certainly bring some excitement to the division. Number 6. Finn Balor will move back to the main roster. In October 2019, Finn Balor moved to NXT from the main roster and shocked everyone by displaying a more edgy, heelish persona. Whilst Balor has done some pretty big things on the Gold brand, including takeover wins over Matt Riddle, Johnny Gargano, and Damian Priest, fans shouldn't expect to see him in NXT for much longer. The reason for Balor's NXT move was because WWE didn't have any plans for him on the main roster, and rather than have him slip into obscurity, Triple H requested for the inaugural Universal Champion to be moved to NXT. Now though, it seems that WWE does have a plan for Balor on the main roster, and rumors have stated that Balor will be called up later this year. It's also been rumored that the company will be hosting a draft around the same time that Balor is expected to be called up, so don't be too surprised if either Raw or SmackDown snatches up Balor in what will be a huge score for either main roster brand. Number 5. A Raw Underground Championship will be revealed. This month, Shane McMahon made his return to WWE TV on Monday Night Raw by revealing Raw Underground, a shoot-fight style show that is far different to WWE's current PG product. Touted as with next to no rules and a grittier, edgier aesthetic, Raw Underground has gotten a lot of people talking, especially with new stars like Dabba-Kato already making an impact on the show. Though there's fears that Vince McMahon will ultimately ruin Raw Underground, the chairman is reportedly a big fan of the show, and is expected to keep it on the show. With WWE's ratings struggling, Raw Underground's edgier content, which wouldn't look out of place in the Attitude Era, is a refreshing change of pace, and if rumors are to be true, Shane will soon be revealing a Raw Underground title. It's still unclear what the new title will look like, though it's being suspected that bringing back the Hardcore Championship, or at least a similar-looking title with similar prestige, could soon be the richest prize in Raw Underground. 4. AJ Styles will be moved to NXT. With Finn Balor set to be called back up to either Raw or SmackDown, a void will be left in NXT's roster that will be filled by AJ Styles. Of course, Styles will need to lose his Intercontinental Championship first, but once that happens, Triple H has reportedly been given permission to bring the Phenomenal One to the Gold brand for the remainder of his in-ring career. Styles himself has said that he constantly wrestles with the idea of retirement, so fans may only get to see Styles compete in NXT for a handful of years. When Styles joined WWE back in 2016, he was a rare example of someone who skipped NXT, and instead debuted on the main roster. And it'll be interesting to see how the Phenomenal One does in the Gold brand later this year. Number 3. Stone Cold will become the new Raw General Manager. The last time fans saw Stone Cold Steve Austin in WWE, he was delivering a particularly nasty stunner to Byron Saxton on the 316 Raw. As you'd expect, having one of the biggest wrestling names ever saw quite the ratings increase for that week's show, and with the Red brand's ratings recently reaching all-time lows, it shouldn't be too surprising that WWE wants the Rattlesnake back. A new backstage rumor has revealed that Vince McMahon is planning on bringing Austin back at some point this year, with the plan of the former world champion to become Raw's new GM. This would mean that fans get to see Austin every couple of weeks interacting with the Raw superstars, as the company believes that the Rattlesnake equals ratings. Though he was the personification of anti-authority in the Attitude Era, Austin isn't a stranger to being in control, as he served as Raw's sheriff in 2004. And if Austin can bring back the ratings, then Vince McMahon is more than willing to work with his old nemesis. Number 2. The Fiend and Alexa Bliss will marry. On SmackDown last week, Alexa Bliss became the latest victim of The Fiend after she suffered a mandible claw from the demented former Universal Champion. While it seems that Bliss would want nothing to do with The Fiend or Bray Wyatt after this attack, that apparently won't be the case. And if rumors are to be believed, this will be the start of an on-screen partnership between the Eater of Worlds and a much darker version of the former Women's Champion. It's also being rumored that the WWE will stage some sort of unholy wedding ceremony between the two, and after Braun Strowman seemingly turned heel this week, saying he doesn't care about what happens to Miss 5 Feet of Fury, these harsh words could help push Bliss into Wyatt's arms. Like other points on this list, this is seemingly an attempt from WWE to push to more envelope-pushing content, which wouldn't be too out of place in the Attitude Era, as the company is desperate to get even close to the ratings they had during the late 90s and early 2000s. With Vince McMahon seeing a Bliss-Wyatt partnership as a possible ratings grab, fans can expect to see the two appear on TV together again later in 2020. Number 1. John Cena returns with the NWO. For the past few years, rumors have persisted that Vince McMahon has considered bringing back the NWO, and with ratings now in a downward spiral, it looks like the Black and White group could finally return. Vince McMahon's desire to bring back an edgier product could see the infamous faction return, with younger superstars being added to the group, and if rumors are true, John Cena will be one of the superstars to don the Black and White, turning heel in the process. The last time fans saw Cena, the 16-time WWE World Champion did don the NWO colors during the Firefly Funhouse match, and Cena himself is reportedly fully on board with returning as a heel for his final run with the company. Whilst a heel Cena would be historic and something many fans have been wanting for a while, it's also rumored that Hulk Hogan would also be returning, and time will tell whether the Hulkster and Big Match John can coexist in 2020's New World Order. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on any updates we post on our channel. Please also check out our Top 10 video, Top 10 WWE Wrestlers Who Almost Died as a Result of a Wrestling Injury.